Welcome to this episode of YouTube where we did complete a medical exam on Axel and Grayson. And as if you've been following these YouTubes, you know that Axel's coat condition this winter was looking a little bit rough. Some hair lost in his ears, but as soon as he started shedding, we really started to notice some condition changes in his skin as well. So it was time. The pack had calmed down. We did drug them in the pack holding area kennel and then brought them in to get weighed. Axel's weight is actually still over 100 pounds, where Grayson's around that 90 pound. They seem to always have that 10-pound difference. Brought him into the Wolf Care Center where we were able to do blood work and to do further testing and diagnostics. And then we bring them back into together. We want to make sure that they stay together. Certainly, we know that rank order can be an issue, and that's why we've been kind of watching the timing of when we can do this medical exam. So you can see Axel's already kind of a little bit up. When Grayson comes into the Wolf Care Center, we make sure that whatever we do to one, we do to the other, so the smell is kind of similar, so that there's no focus on one individual versus the other. These were reversible drugs, so we did do the reversal so that we could get them up and moving around. And you can see here Axel's ready to go in a very short period of time, and Grayson's right behind him. So a lot of Wolf Care staff staying with them and watching them and monitoring them yesterday to make sure that everything kind of came out okay. They were back on the main exhibit by the time we opened at 9 o'clock, and so the public did see some pretty groggy wolves, and we waited to put the yearlings and Rika back with them because they were still a little bit groggy, and so we wanted to make sure that they were capable of dealing with this rambunctious young crowd. And I really want to point out here what's important management-wise for Giselle as the future curator here. We've been working really hard at conditioning them to walk on the scale. That's something Axel and Grayson didn't have, and you can see here these yearlings and Rika are in the building every day. They're standing on that scale, they're walking on that scale, and they really are not showing any avoidance. And so that's going to make management in the future much easier to be able to watch subtleties in weight change. A little after 11, we felt that Axel and Grayson were ready to meet the rest of the pack, and so we brought them out, and you can see here clearly Grayson having the pups submit to them. Rika, a little bit of a focus, and they're smelling kind of on his back. We did clean up some of those bite wounds from this winter, so it smells differently. It had some antibiotic powder on it. You can see Kaz being extremely submissive to Axel and doing a submissive paw and rolling over with a hard muzzle bite from Axel. So gets a little bit rambunctious. Axel can control him. That's really what we were waiting for and what we were concerned about. We know that the impact of the medical exam lasted throughout the day, plus it was hot in the 80s, which is very, very warm. Grayson especially has not started shedding any of his winter coat versus Axel, who is shedding partly because of the skin condition, but also because Axel typically did shed different than Grayson, and so that's just kind of who they are and how they release their hair. Same thing with Kaz shedding most of his hair, Blackstone just starting to shed his winter coat. So we fast forward to today, and one of the things we want to make sure is that we don't have any negative conditioning towards the place or the associative people that worked on the medical exam. And so here Axel's coming into the Wolf Care Center, still a little bit neophobic, but that's typically Axel and Grayson. They are more nervous about coming into the building. But we saw some good response. Rika scratching there, it's, again, the bug season, so a scratch doesn't necessarily mean, an issue, but we do know, like I said, the condition for Axel is magnified by whatever's going on with his skin with the shedding, with the bug season. So what was interesting today is Axel and Grayson both coming to the building. You see a little bit of that neophobia, that looking up, that's pretty standard for them. But interestingly enough, Grayson not only walks into the building and stands there for a while, but actually stands on the scale. So that was great news, and certainly we'll continue to try to see if we can get them conditioned to do that so we can get a regular weight pattern on them. I recall a saying that was said in a training that I took through Wolf Park a few years ago, and it said that working with socialized wolves is like a bank account. You build your bank account of trust by bottle feeding, by nurturing, by having social interactions on a daily basis, so that when you have to make a withdrawal for a medical exam, that you have enough trust in the bank to be able to make a withdrawal. And I'm really happy to report that I think we are still solvent here with trust. The pack is out, dealing with the heat, dealing with the bugs, And we hope to have some results that will be shared in our next webinar, which will be June 21st on the summer solstice. Thanks for watching.